r/MaliciousCompliance family tried to blackmail me over stolen art, so I ruined them. The email notification pinged on my phone at 2:47 a.m., and I almost ignored it. Almost. Thank God I didn't, because what I found made my blood run cold. Hey. Love your art prints. Just ordered 3 more for my dorm room. Your aunt's Etsy shop has the best digital art collection. My aunt's, what? I sat up in bed, laptop already open before my feet hit the floor. A quick Google search of Linda Morrison Etsy art prints, and there it was, my entire portfolio staring back at me from someone else's storefront. My cyberpunk cityscapes. My fantasy character portraits. My abstract pieces that took weeks to perfect. All of it branded under Morrison Family Digital Designs, with price tags that made my jaw drop. $45 for prints of artwork I'd never seen a cent from. My hands shook as I scrolled through page after page of MY work. The shop had over 3,000 sales. I did the math 3 times because I couldn't believe it. Conservative estimate. They'd made at least $50,000 in the past 8 months. While I'd been surviving on ramen and wondering if I should give up on art entirely. The shop description made me want to vomit. Family-owned business featuring original digital artwork by our talented in-house artists. Each piece is lovingly crafted and exclusive to our collection. Talented in-house artists. I wasn't even credited by name. I screenshotted everything, my photographers automatically documenting evidence even through my rage. Reviews praising their artistic vision. Featured listings of my most personal pieces, including the portrait series I created during my depression last year. Seeing strangers discuss the beautiful emotion in artwork born from my darkest moments, while my Aunt Linda counted money that should have been mine. I'd never felt so violated. By 4 a.m., I had a folder with over 200 screenshots and a list of every single piece they'd stolen. 47 original works in total. Some I'd posted on my barely followed Instagram account, others from my DeviantArt portfolio that maybe 50 people had ever seen. I'd been so naive, watermarking them with just my artist's signature instead of proper copyright notices. The worst part. I remember the family barbecue last summer when Linda had gushed about my art. You're so talented, honey. You should really try to make money from these. She'd seemed so supportive, so different from my parents who still introduced me as their daughter who does computer stuff instead of acknowledging I'm a professional artist. I'd even sent her high-resolution files of my favorite pieces when she'd asked, claiming she wanted to frame some for her house. What a fool I'd been. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Jake. Dude, why are you active on Steam at 4 a.m.? You okay? I wasn't okay. I was 28 years old, barely scraping by in a studio apartment, choosing between groceries and art supplies while my own family had been profiting from my work behind my back. The freelance market was brutal enough without discovering that people who claimed to love me were actively stealing from me. But as I stared at that Etsy page, something shifted inside me. The hurt was still there, burning like acid in my chest, but underneath it was something harder. Something that had teeth. They thought they could take advantage of the starving artist in the family. They thought I was too naive, too grateful for any scrap of attention to notice or fight back. They were about to learn how wrong they were. I waited until 9 a.m. to make the call. Professional hours, professional tone. The phone rang 3 times before Linda's voice chirped through the speaker. Oh, sweetie. What a lovely surprise. How are you doing? Hi, Aunt Linda. I'm calling about your Etsy shop. The pause lasted exactly 4 seconds. I counted. Oh, you found that, did you? Her voice had already shifted, losing that sugary warmth. I was going to mention it eventually. Eventually? You've been selling my artwork for 8 months. Now, honey, let's not get dramatic. It's family art. You shared those pieces freely, and we've been promoting your work. Think of it as exposure. Exposure. The word every artist has learned to hate. I pulled up my evidence folder, cursor hovering over the sales data I'd calculated. $50,000 worth of exposure, Linda. That's what you've made off my work. Another pause. Longer this time. You don't understand business, sweetheart. There are costs involved. Marketing, materials, shipping, customer service. The overhead alone. Cut the crap. My professional mask slipped. Those are digital downloads. Your overhead is clicking send file after someone pays $45 for art that took me 30 hours to create. Watch your tone with me, young lady. Linda's voice went ice cold, revealing something I'd never heard before. You're being very ungrateful. We've turned your little hobby into something profitable. Little hobby. My chest tightened, but I pushed forward. I want you to shut down the shop. Transfer the money you've made to my account. And we'll call it even. Linda laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, honey. That's not happening. But since we're having this conversation, let me share something interesting. Your cousin Madison is quite tech-savvy, you know. She's the one who found your artwork to begin with. My stomach dropped. Madison was Linda's 19-year-old daughter, studying marketing at college. I'd always liked her. She discovered your, shall we call it your complete portfolio? Including that little side business you've been running. OnlyFans, isn't it? Very artistic nudes, from what I understand. The world tilted. My OnlyFans account was completely separate, run under a different name. I'd been desperate for income, and it had helped me pay rent for 6 months. But if my parents found out... I see I have your attention now, Linda continued, her voice sickeningly sweet again. Your mother mentioned just last week how proud she is that you've stayed on the right path unlike some young people today. Very traditional values, your parents. I'd hate for them to learn their daughter has been performing online. My hands were shaking again, but this time it wasn't from rage. My parents were strict Catholic conservatives. Finding out about OnlyFans wouldn't just disappoint them, it would destroy our relationship completely. They'd already barely accepted my art career. This would end everything. What do you want? The words came out as a whisper. Smart girl. I want you to sign over the rights to your existing artwork catalog. All of it. And any new pieces you create in the next 2 years get submitted to us first. We'll decide what's worth selling. That's insane. You're talking about my entire career. I'm talking about protecting your family relationships. Madison has screenshots, dear. Very detailed ones. It would be such a shame if they accidentally got sent to the wrong people. The line went quiet except for my ragged breathing. In the span of 10 minutes, I'd gone from holding all the cards to being completely cornered by my own family. I'll email you the contracts, Linda said cheerfully. You have 48 hours to decide what matters more, your art or your family's respect. The line went dead. I stared at my phone for 20 minutes after Linda hung up, my mind cycling through the same panicked thoughts on repeat. Every scenario I imagined ended with my parents' disappointed faces, my dad's lecture about moral degradation, my mother crying over where they'd gone wrong raising me. But then something else crept in. A memory from art school, Professor Chen drilling copyright law into our heads. Your art is your property the moment you create it. Document everything. Protect yourselves, because no one else will. I'd kept everything. Every sketch, every work file, every timestamp save. My obsessive organization habit suddenly didn't seem so neurotic. My laptop was already open, Photoshop launched shortcuts muscle memory by now. I pulled up the original file for Neon Dreams, one of my cyberpunk pieces that Linda was selling for $45. Created March 15, 2023, at 2:33 a.m. The metadata was all there, camera settings from reference photos, brush presets I'd custom-made, even the 16 different layer versions showing my complete creative process. Linda's shop listed it as created by Morrison Family Digital Designs in November 2023. 8 months after I'd actually made it. I opened a new browser window and started researching. Copyright infringement penalties. Etsy's reporting process. Small claims court procedures. The deeper I dug, the more ammunition I found. My phone rang. Madison's name lit up the screen. Hey, cousin. Her voice was strained, not the usual bubbly tone I was used to. Mom told me you two talked. Did she also tell you how she's blackmailing me with screenshots you took? A long pause. She said you were being difficult about the business arrangement. Business arrangement? Madison, they've stolen $50,000 worth of my work. It's not stolen if it's family. Stop. The word came out harder than I intended. You know that's not true. You're studying marketing. You understand intellectual property. Another pause. Then, quieter, the shop was my idea. My heart sank. What? I found your Instagram last year. Your art was incredible, but you had like no followers. I thought we could help. Make some money for the family business, give you exposure. By cutting me out completely. Mom said we'd bring you in eventually. But then the shop took off, and there were expenses, and... Her voice trailed off. I didn't know about the OnlyFans thing until last month. I wasn't looking for it, I swear. I was just trying to find more of your art for the shop and found your other accounts. The betrayal stung worse knowing it came from Madison. I'd helped her with design projects for school. Sent her art tutorials. I thought she actually cared about my work. So now you're helping mommy blackmail me. It's not blackmail. It's just, look, Aunt Sarah and Uncle Mike are really conservative. This could destroy your relationship with them. Mom's trying to protect you. By stealing from me. By offering you a partnership. Steady income, professional marketing, family support. Madison. I pulled up my bank account on screen. $847.23. I have $800 to my name. Your mom has made $50,000 off my work in 8 months. You think this is protection? The line went quiet. I could hear her typing in the background. I'm looking at the shop analytics now, she said finally. Mom said we'd only made a few thousand. My stomach twisted. Linda had been lying to her own daughter about the profits. Check the all-time earnings, Madison. Check how many downloads we've sold. More typing. Then a sharp intake of breath. Oh my god. 63,000. That can't be right. Your mom offered me a partnership in stolen profits from my own work, while threatening to destroy my relationship with my parents if I don't sign away my entire artistic career. My voice was steady now, cold. Still think she's protecting me? Madison didn't answer immediately. When she did, her voice was small. What are you going to do? I looked at my screen full of research tabs. Copyright law. Social media strategies. Business destruction tactics. I'm going to show your family what happens when you back an artist into a corner. The email from Linda arrived at exactly 6 p.m., like she'd scheduled it for maximum psychological impact. The subject line read, Partnership Opportunity, Time Sensitive, and attached were 3 PDF documents that made my blood pressure spike. The first was a licensing agreement that signed over exclusive rights to my entire portfolio. The second covered future works, basically making me Linda's unpaid art slave for 2 years. The third was labeled Family Protection Addendum and was pure legal theater, but the message was clear, sign this or face the consequences. I was halfway through the first document when my phone exploded with notifications. Someone had tagged me in an Instagram post. My stomach dropped. It was Madison's account, but the post showed a screenshot of one of my OnlyFans preview images, nothing explicit, just me in artistic lighting with strategic shadows, but unmistakably from that platform. The caption read, When family doesn't support your real art crying face #disappointed #family values. She deleted it within minutes, but not before 12 people had liked it. 12 people who knew both me and my parents. My phone rang immediately. Madison's name flashed on screen. That was an accident, she said before I could speak. I was trying to save the screenshot to show Mom how serious this was, and I accidentally posted instead of saving to drafts. You accidentally posted a picture of me half naked to Instagram. With a caption about family values. I deleted it right away. I don't think anyone screenshotted it. Madison, I can see the like notifications. Sarah Hendricks liked it. You know Sarah goes to my parents' church, right? Silence. Then a shaky breath. Maybe no one will tell them. Maybe they didn't really look at it carefully. I was already opening Facebook, searching for Sarah's profile. There it was, a screenshot of Madison's accidental post, shared to a private group called St. Mary's Prayer Circle. With the comment, please pray for the Morrison family during this difficult time. Sometimes our children lose their way. 43 members in that group. Including my mother. It's too late, I said, my voice eerily calm. It's already spreading. My phone buzzed with a text from my mom, honey, can you call me? I saw something online that has me confused. Another buzz. My dad, need to talk. This is urgent. Then another from my older brother, what the hell is going on? Mom is crying and won't tell me why. Madison was still talking, her words tumbling over each other in panic. I can fix this. I'll post a clarification, say it was fake, say someone hacked my account. Stop talking. I set the phone on speaker and opened my laptop. Your little accident just escalated this situation beyond anything your mom threatened. You want to know what I'm going to do now? I was already typing, muscle memory navigating to the copyright infringement reporting page. I was going to handle this quietly. File complaints, maybe take you to small claims court, keep it in the family. But you just made this public, Madison. You brought my personal life into it. So now we play by different rules. What do you mean? I mean I'm about to show you the difference between someone who dabbles in marketing and someone who's been building their brand from nothing for 5 years. I uploaded the first batch of evidence files. Original artwork files, timestamped and tagged. Screenshots of Linda's shop with my stolen art. Sales data I'd calculated. This was just the beginning. I'm filing copyright claims on every single piece. That's immediate takedown notices and frozen accounts. Then I'm documenting everything publicly. You can't. The family business. What family business? You mean the criminal enterprise built on stolen art? My fingers flew across the keyboard, years of social media management paying off. Twitter thread template. Instagram story series. TikTok video outline. I'd been naive about protecting my art, but I was a professional at digital storytelling. Madison, I want you to tell your mother something. She wanted to play hardball with my reputation. Let's see how Morrison Family Digital Designs holds up under scrutiny. The first copyright claim went through in 47 minutes. I watched Linda's Etsy shop listing for Neon Dreams disappear in real time, replaced with a generic content removed due to IP violation notice. 1 down, 46 to go. My phone had been buzzing non-stop with increasingly frantic calls from my parents, but I let them go to voicemail. I needed to work fast before Linda realized what was happening and tried to cover her tracks. The second wave of takedowns hit at 8 p.m. 5 more of my pieces vanished from her shop, each one taking a chunk of her 5-star rating with it. Etsy's algorithm didn't like sudden content removals, and I could already see her shop dropping in search rankings. That's when Linda called. What the hell do you think you're doing? No more sweet aunt voice. This was pure venom. Protecting my intellectual property. You know, that thing you've been stealing for 8 months. You spiteful little bitch. I gave you a chance to handle this like adults. Adults don't blackmail family members, Linda. And adults don't whore themselves out online for rent money. The words hit like a slap, but I kept my voice steady. At least I was selling my own content, not someone else's. I heard her take a shaky breath, regrouping. When she spoke again, the calculated sweetness was back. Honey, I think you're confused about how serious this situation is. Madison's little accident this afternoon was nothing compared to what I could share. I have very detailed screenshots. Very explicit ones. My stomach clenched, but I'd already passed the point of no return. Share them, I said. What? I said share them. Post them everywhere. Send them to my parents, my church, my high school reunion group chat. Go ahead. The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. You're bluffing. Linda, your daughter already accidentally destroyed my relationship with my parents. The thing you were threatening me with. It already happened. Sarah Hendricks made sure of that. I pulled up my email, drafting messages to every art blog and Instagram account that had ever featured stolen work stories. You have nothing left to threaten me with, and I have everything to gain by burning your little empire to the ground. Another pause. Then, you think this is over? You have no idea what you've started. Actually, I do. See, while you were busy playing crime family matriarch, I was documenting everything. The financial records I pulled from your shop analytics. The timestamps proving when I created versus when you listed each piece. Even the conversation we had this morning, did you know California is a one-party consent state for recording phone calls? I hadn't actually recorded the call, but the sharp intake of breath told me the bluff had landed. You're going to regret this, Linda said, but her voice had lost its edge. Maybe. But you're going to regret it more. I hung up and immediately uploaded the next batch of copyright claims. 10 more pieces gone from her shop in one wave. Her customer reviews were starting to turn nasty as buyers realized their purchased downloads were being revoked. My laptop chimed with a new email notification. The sender made my blood run cold, Michael Morrison, my dad. Subject line, disappointed beyond words. I stared at the email for a full minute before opening it. 3 paragraphs of devastating disappointment. Religious rhetoric about moral failure. A statement that they needed time to process this situation and I should not contact them until further notice. The last line gutted me, we raised you better than this. My hands were shaking as I closed the email, but something had crystallized in my chest. They thought they'd raised me better than standing up for myself. Better than fighting back when family members stole from me. Maybe they had raised me to be a doormat. But I was done with that version of myself. I opened Twitter and started typing the thread that would change everything. I stared at the blank Twitter compose window, cursor blinking like a heartbeat. One thread could destroy Linda's business permanently, but it would also make this mess completely public. No going back, no quiet family reconciliation. My phone buzzed. A text from Jake, saw Madison's post before she deleted it. You okay? Your mom's been calling me asking if I know what's going on. Great. So the church prayer circle wasn't enough, now my parents were interrogating my friends. I typed back, it's complicated. Can't talk right now. Another buzz, different number, this is Robert Chin, your Aunt Linda's lawyer. We need to discuss your harassment campaign immediately. Harassment campaign. They'd lawyered up in less than 4 hours. I screenshotted the text and opened my evidence folder. If Linda wanted to play legal hardball, she picked the wrong opponent. I had timestamps, original files, and documentation of every stolen piece. What did she have? A lawyer trying to intimidate me into backing down. My laptop chimed with another email, this one from Etsy's legal department. My copyright claims were being reviewed, but Linda had filed counter-notices claiming she had written permission to use the artwork. Standard stalling tactic, but it meant some of my work might go back up while they investigated. I needed to move faster. The Twitter thread was still waiting, empty and full of potential. But first, I needed to handle the lawyer. I called the number back. Mr. Chin. This is the artist whose work your client has been selling illegally for 8 months. Ms. Morrison, I'm calling to inform you that you're engaged in what could constitute harassment and defamation. My client has documentation showing she had permission to use your artwork. Really? I'd love to see that documentation, since I never gave permission to anyone. She also has evidence that you've been engaged in, shall we say, activities that put your credibility as a plaintiff in question. There it was, the OnlyFans threat in legal language. Mr. Chen, are you threatening to publicly release intimate images of me without consent? Because that's a felony in California. I really hope you're not suggesting your client would commit revenge porn to win a civil case. The pause told me everything. He hadn't expected me to know the law. That's not what I'm suggesting. Good. Because I'm recording this call, and threatening revenge porn as legal strategy would be grounds for a bar complaint. Another pause. Ms. Morrison, perhaps we can reach a reasonable settlement. Here's my settlement offer. Linda transfers every cent she made from my work, removes all my art from her platforms, and issues a public apology. She has 24 hours. That's completely unreasonable. Mr. Chen, your client committed copyright infringement to the tune of $63,000. That's federal crime territory. My offer is more reasonable than criminal charges. I hung up before he could respond and immediately started typing the Twitter thread. Thread, how my wealthy aunt stole my art, made $60,000, then tried to blackmail me when I found out. Buckle up. 147th. The first tweet posted at 11:23 p.m. By midnight, it had 37 retweets and over 200 likes. By 1 a.m., Art Twitter had found it, and the numbers exploded. Quote tweets started pouring in with people sharing their own stolen art stories, tagging bigger accounts, demanding justice. At 2 a.m., someone with 50k followers retweeted it with the comment, "This is every artist's nightmare." Thread is devastating and important. At 3 a.m., my DMs were flooded with messages from other artists, legal advice, and journalists asking for interviews. At 4 a.m., Linda called again. "You've destroyed everything," she said, her voice cracking. "The shop is finished. Madison is getting death threats. How could you do this to family?" I looked at my Twitter notifications, over 10,000 retweets now, climbing fast. "I didn't destroy anything, Linda. I just told the truth. The lawyer says we can sue you for defamation." "With what money?" I documented everything. Every screenshot, every stolen piece, every conversation. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. The line went quiet except for her ragged breathing. "Please," she whispered. "Can't we fix this? Take down the thread, and we'll work something out." I stared at my laptop screen, watching the retweet count climb in real time. Linda's Etsy shop was being review bombed. Her business Facebook page was flooded with angry comments. Morrison Family Digital Designs was trending on Art Twitter. "Linda," I said softly, "you should have thought about that before you tried to steal my entire career." The call that changed everything came at 6:47 a.m., just as I was finally drifting off to sleep. Unknown number, but something made me answer. "Is this the artist whose work was stolen?" The voice was young, nervous. "I saw your Twitter thread." "Yeah, that's me." "Who is this?" "My name is Trevor. I worked, for Morrison Family Digital Designs. I was their customer service contractor." I sat up straight, suddenly wide awake. "Worked?" "Linda fired me an hour ago. Said the business was shutting down because of unforeseen circumstances. But before she cut my access, I managed to download some files I thought you should see." My heart started pounding. "What kind of files?" "Email chains. Financial records. And, there are other artists. You're not the only one." The words hit me like ice water. "What do you mean, other artists?" "I'm sending you a folder now. Linda wasn't just stealing from you. There are at least 12 other artists whose work she's been selling. Some for over 2 years." My laptop chimed with an email notification. The attachment was massive, hundreds of files. I opened the first folder and my blood ran cold. Screenshots of Instagram accounts, DeviantArt profiles, small artist portfolios. All with notes in Linda's handwriting, "Good for fantasy collection, steal for landscape series, artist only has 200 followers, safe target." Safe target. Jesus Christ, I whispered, scrolling through stolen portfolio after stolen portfolio. Digital paintings, illustrations, character designs, all from small artists with minimal online presence. All being sold under Morrison Family Digital Designs. "The financial spreadsheets are in the bottom folder," Trevor said. "She's made over $300,000 total. Your art was just her biggest single source. $300,000. Built entirely on stolen work from struggling artists." I opened another folder labeled Problem Management and found email drafts that made me sick. Messages Linda had prepared but never sent, fake legal threats to artists who'd started asking questions about their work appearing in her shop. Intimidation tactics. Cease and desist letters written to look official but coming from made-up law firms. Why are you giving me this? I asked. Because I've been helping her steal from people like you for 8 months, and I didn't realize what I was doing until I saw your thread. Trevor's voice was shaky. She told me she had licensing agreements with all the artists. That I was helping run a legitimate business. I found a file labeled Insurance Policies and opened it. My stomach dropped. It wasn't business insurance, it was blackmail material. Screenshots and personal information about the artists she'd stolen from. Social media posts, personal photos, anything that could be used as leverage if they fought back. Including a folder with my name on it. OnlyFans screenshots, yes, but also photos of my apartment building, my car, even pictures of me at coffee shops that must have been taken without my knowledge. Timestamps showed they'd been watching me for months. Trevor, did Linda ever meet with these artists in person? I don't know about meeting, but she definitely researched them extensively. She has this whole system. Madison would find artists with potential, then Linda would build profiles on them. Personal information, family connections, anything that could be useful later. I was staring at a surveillance file on myself. My parents' address. My brother's workplace. Jake's Instagram account. They'd mapped out my entire life, looking for pressure points. There's something else, Trevor continued. The lawyer who called you. Robert Chin. He's not Linda's lawyer. He's Madison's boyfriend pretending to be an attorney. Linda's been making fake legal threats for years. The room was spinning. This wasn't just copyright theft, it was an organized criminal operation targeting vulnerable artists. And I'd stumbled into something much bigger than family drama. My phone started buzzing with notifications. The Twitter thread had caught fire overnight, but now I was seeing new mentions. Other artists posting their own stolen work discoveries, all traced back to Morrison Family Digital Designs. The hashtag Morrison Art Theft was gaining momentum. Trevor, I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart, are you willing to go on record with this information? Yes. I kept copies of everything because something felt wrong. I want to help fix this. I looked at the evidence spread across my screen, hundreds of stolen artworks, detailed financial records, surveillance files on innocent artists. Linda hadn't just betrayed me. She'd built an empire on systematic theft from the art community. Then we're going to burn this whole operation to the ground, I said. And we're going to make sure every artist gets justice. The call I'd been dreading came at 9 a.m. sharp. My dad's contact photo filled the screen, a picture from last Christmas when we'd all still been a happy family. Hi Dad, I answered, trying to keep my voice steady. Don't hi Dad me. His voice was ice cold. Your mother hasn't stopped crying since yesterday. What the hell is wrong with you? I closed my eyes, steeling myself for what was coming. Did you read my Twitter thread? Do you know what Linda did to me? I don't care what Linda did. I care about my daughter posting naked pictures online and embarrassing our entire family. I wasn't naked, and I was trying to survive financially while Linda was stealing. Stealing. She was trying to help you. But instead of being grateful, you've destroyed her business with lies and attacked your own family publicly. My jaw dropped. Lies? Dad, I have documentation of everything. She made $60,000 selling my artwork without permission. That's not what Linda told us. She said you gave her permission months ago, and now you're having second thoughts because the business took off. She showed us text messages. My blood turned to ice. What text messages? The ones where you agreed to let her sell your art in exchange for exposure. Don't try to deny it now. I frantically scrolled through my phone, checking every conversation I'd ever had with Linda. Nothing. No agreement, no permission, nothing even close to what my dad was describing. Dad, I never sent those messages. Whatever she showed you was fake. So now Linda is a criminal mastermind forging evidence. Jesus, listen to yourself. Your aunt is trying to salvage some kind of relationship after you publicly humiliated the entire family, and you're still making up conspiracy theories. I'm not making anything up. I have Trevor's files, I have the financial records. Trevor. Who the hell is Trevor? I realized my mistake immediately. I couldn't explain Trevor's evidence without admitting I'd been in contact with Linda's former employee, which my parents would see as stalking or harassment. Look, Dad, can you just come over? Let me show you the evidence in person. Once you see the original files with timestamps. I'm not going anywhere. Your mother and I have decided we need space from this situation. From you. The words hit like a physical blow. What does that mean? It means you've made your choices. The OnlyFans account, this public attack on family, the lies about Linda, we raised you better than this. Until you're ready to apologize and get your life together, we think it's best if you don't contact us. Dad, please. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, hands shaking. In less than 24 hours, Linda had managed to turn my own parents against me. Whatever fake messages she'd shown them must have been incredibly convincing. My laptop chimed with a new email notification. The sender name made my stomach lurch, legal notice, Morrison Family Attorneys. But when I opened it, the email address was clearly fake, morrisonfamilaw@gmail.com. No legitimate law firm used Gmail. Ms. Morrison, the message began, your defamatory social media posts have caused irreparable harm to our clients. We demand immediate removal of all posts and public apology, or we will pursue legal action for defamation, harassment, and tortious interference with business relationships. I almost laughed. After everything Trevor had told me about fake legal threats, they were still trying the same tactics. But then I read the final paragraph. Please note that we have documented evidence of your criminal harassment campaign, including your coordination with former employees to steal confidential business information. Criminal charges may be pursued in addition to civil remedies. They were trying to flip the script, painting me as the criminal for exposing their theft. And worse, they were threatening Trevor for helping me. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, stop digging or your friend Jake gets the same treatment your parents did. We know where he works. I screenshotted the message with shaking hands. They were escalating from blackmail to direct threats. But as I stared at those words, something crystallized in my mind. Linda had made a crucial mistake. She'd moved from hiding her crimes to actively threatening people. And now I had evidence of witness intimidation to add to the copyright theft charges. I opened a new browser tab and started researching FBI cybercrime reporting procedures. This had officially moved beyond civil court territory. The FBI's cybercrime reporting website looked intimidating at 3 a.m., but I filled out every field with methodical precision. Copyright infringement across state lines. Wire fraud. Witness intimidation. The drop-down menus had categories for everything Linda's operation had done. I was uploading Trevor's financial documents when my phone rang. Madison's name on the screen. Please don't answer, she said before I could speak. Her voice was thick with tears. Please just listen. I stayed silent. Mom's losing it. She's been up all night making phone calls, trying to get people to say bad things about you online. She called your old boss from the gallery, tried to get him to post about how you were unreliable when you worked there. My chest tightened. I'd left that job on good terms 2 years ago. She's also been calling other family members. Aunt Carol, Uncle Jim, even Grandma Peterson. Telling them you've been lying about the business, that you're on drugs, that you're having some kind of breakdown. Each word felt like a knife twist. Linda wasn't just offending herself, she was systematically destroying my reputation with everyone I cared about. Madison, why are you telling me this? Because I found something. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I was helping her go through the business files to prepare for the lawyer meeting tomorrow, and I found a folder on her computer labeled Artist Research. It's not just you. There are dozens of them. I know. Trevor already. No, you don't understand. Some of these artists, she's been watching them for years. There's this girl in Portland whose work she's been selling since 2019. Another one in Texas, she has pictures of his apartment building, his car, even his girlfriend's workplace. My blood ran cold. The surveillance wasn't just about me. There's more, Madison continued. She has a whole system. She targets artists who are struggling financially, who don't have big social media followings, who post about depression or family problems. She looks for people who won't fight back. I thought about my own posts from last year during my worst depressive episode, sharing my struggles with feeling like a failure as an artist. Linda had been watching, taking notes, building a profile of my vulnerabilities. The fake legal threats aren't new either. She's been using them for 3 years. Different fake lawyer names, different law firms she made up. Sometimes she pretends to be from Etsy's legal department or Instagram's copyright team. Jesus Christ, Madison. This isn't a family business, it's organized crime. I know. Her voice cracked. And I helped. I found most of these artists for her. She told me we were building a legitimate licensing business, that we'd contact them eventually to offer partnerships. I actually believed her. A new notification popped up on my laptop. Someone had found Linda's personal Facebook page and was posting screenshots from my Twitter thread on all her photos. The comments were brutal. There's something else, Madison said. The text messages she showed your parents. She made them using some app that creates fake conversation screenshots. I watched her do it. She spent an hour crafting fake messages to make it look like you'd given permission months ago. My hands clenched into fists. My parents thought I was a liar because Linda had fabricated evidence. Can you prove that? Do you have screenshots of her making them? I took a video. On my phone. I was going to post it on TikTok as a joke about how to fake text conversations, but then I realized what she was actually doing with it. Madison, I need you to send me that video. Tonight. If I do this, she'll know it came from me. She's already suspicious about how much I know. If you don't do this, she's going to destroy more artists. And she's going to blame you for helping her when this all comes crashing down. The line went quiet for a long moment. Then I heard typing. I'm sending it now. Along with screenshots of the artist research folder. But after this, I can't help you anymore. I'm scared of what she'll do if she finds out. My laptop chimed with an email attachment. The video was shaky phone footage, but clear enough to see Linda at her computer, methodically creating fake text conversations using an app called Message Generator. I had her dead to rights on fraud, perjury, and defamation. But as I stared at the evidence, I realized something that made my stomach drop. If Linda was desperate enough to fabricate evidence and threaten witnesses, she wasn't going to go down quietly. She was going to escalate. And I had no idea how far she was willing to go. The video Madison sent was damning, but as I watched Linda methodically fabricate text conversations, a chill ran down my spine. She wasn't just desperate, she was calculating. Every fake message was crafted to paint me as an ungrateful family member who'd agreed to the arrangement months ago. My phone buzzed at 4:17 a.m. Jake's name flashed on the screen. Dude, something weird is happening, he said without preamble. I just got a call from some woman claiming to be from your bank's fraud department. She was asking about your suspicious financial activity and whether I knew about you receiving large cash payments recently. My blood turned to ice. What did you tell her? Nothing, because it was obviously fake. Bank fraud departments don't call random friends at 4 a.m. But she knew specific details, my full name, where I work, even mentioned our coffee shop hangout spot. Linda was expanding her intimidation campaign, but she'd made another crucial mistake. Impersonating a bank official was federal wire fraud. Jake, did you get the caller ID number? Yeah, hold on. I heard him shuffling around. It came from 555-0847. Want me to call it back? No. Don't engage with them at all. I'm documenting everything for the FBI report. FBI. Jesus, what exactly did you stumble into? Before I could answer, my laptop chimed with a new email. The sender line made my heart stop. It was my own email address, sending a message to myself. The subject line read, Public Apology, please share widely. Someone had hacked my email account. I clicked the message with trembling hands. It was a draft apology letter, supposedly written by me, confessing to fabricating evidence against my loving aunt and admitting to psychological issues stemming from financial desperation and personal shame. The letter claimed I'd made everything up to cover my own embarrassment about OnlyFans and begged forgiveness from my family. But it was still in drafts. They hadn't sent it yet. I immediately changed my password and enabled two-factor authentication, my heart pounding. They'd been inside my email account, reading my conversations, planning to send a fake confession from my own address to destroy my credibility completely. My phone rang again. This time it was Trevor. "They know I talked to you," he said, his voice tight with panic. "Linda just called me, said she had security footage of me downloading files and that she was pressing charges for corporate espionage." "Trevor, you said you were fired. How can she claim corporate espionage if you don't work there anymore?" "That's just it, I checked my bank account. She deposited my final paycheck this morning, but backdated my termination letter to next week. She's trying to make it look like I stole the files while still employed." The level of premeditation was staggering. Linda wasn't just covering her tracks, she was building countercases against everyone who'd helped expose her. "There's more," Trevor continued. "She called my new employer. Told them I was under investigation for theft and data breach. I start Monday, but now they're reconsidering my offer." My chest tightened with guilt. By accepting Trevor's help, I'd painted a target on his back. "I'm going to fix this," I said. "The FBI report includes everything about witness intimidation." "They can't. FBI reports take months to investigate. I need this job now." His voice cracked. "My girlfriend is pregnant. We can't afford for me to be blacklisted from the industry." After Trevor hung up, I stared at my laptop screen, the weight of responsibility crushing down on me. Linda wasn't just destroying my life anymore, she was systematically attacking everyone who tried to help me. But as I scrolled through the evidence files, a new realization hit me. Linda was making moves that required money, fake legal documents, professional-looking websites for her fake law firms, sophisticated hacking tools. Where was this funding coming from? I opened her financial records again, this time looking for outgoing payments instead of income. What I found made everything click into place. This operation was bigger than just Linda. Much bigger. The financial records painted a picture that made my hands shake. Hidden in Trevor's files was a folder labeled Investment Partners that I'd almost missed. Linda wasn't funding this operation alone. Wire transfers going back 3 years showed regular payments to something called Creative Asset Management LLC. But the money flow went both directions. Linda was receiving funding from CAM LLC and paying them a percentage of profits. This wasn't a family business, it was a franchise. I googled Creative Asset Management LLC and found a bare-bones website that looked legitimate at first glance. Helping artists monetize their digital portfolios, the tagline read. But when I dug deeper into the company registration, the address was a mailbox in Delaware. Classic shell company setup. The phone numbers listed on CAM's website matched numbers in Linda's contact list, but with different names attached. Regional coordinators, according to her files. At least 8 different people, spread across multiple states. My stomach dropped as the scope became clear. Linda wasn't a solo criminal, she was part of a network stealing art at an industrial scale. I was cross-referencing contact information when my laptop screen flickered. For a split second, my desktop wallpaper changed to a photo of my apartment building entrance, taken from across the street. Then it switched back to normal. Someone was still in my computer. I slammed the laptop shut and grabbed my phone, hands trembling as I called the FBI's cybercrime hotline. The automated system told me to expect a callback within 48 hours for non-emergency reports, but this felt increasingly like an emergency. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Nice try with the password change. Your laptop camera has an interesting view of your living room." I spun around, scanning my apartment for the laptop I just closed. The power light was still on. The camera could be recording even with the screen shut. Another text, "Pretty pajamas. The blue ones are definitely your color." I was wearing blue pajamas. Panic flooded my system as I unplugged the laptop entirely and shoved it in a drawer. But the damage was done. They'd been watching me work, seeing every document I'd opened, every email I'd read. They knew exactly how much evidence I had and everyone I'd been in contact with. My phone rang. Madison's name, but when I answered, Linda's voice came through the speaker. "Hello, sweetheart. I think we need to have a more serious conversation." Where's Madison?" "She's right here, don't worry. Just borrowing her phone since you've been ignoring mine. Madison's been very helpful tonight, actually. Showing me exactly what files she shared with you." My heart sank. They'd caught Madison. "Here's what's going to happen," Linda continued, her voice sickeningly calm. "You're going to post a public apology on social media. You're going to admit you fabricated evidence because of personal mental health issues. And you're going to disappear from the internet for a very long time. And if I don't? Well, let's see. Trevor's about to be arrested for corporate espionage. I have a police report ready to file. Your friend Jake's employer is getting some very interesting information about his association with a cybercriminal. And your parents? Well, they're about to receive a much more explicit collection of photos than what they've already seen." Each threat hit like a physical blow, but something in her tone made me realize she was reading from a script. This wasn't Linda improvising, someone was coaching her through this call. "Who else is there with you, Linda?" A pause. Then a different voice came on the line, male, professional, with a slight accent I couldn't place. "Ms. Morrison, my name is David Chin. The real David Chin. I represent Creative Asset Management LLC, and you've stumbled into something much larger than a family dispute. You're the ones running the art theft network. We prefer digital asset redistribution. And you have 48 hours to make this problem disappear, or we make you disappear instead." The line went dead, and I realized with crystalline clarity that I wasn't just fighting my aunt anymore. I was up against an organized criminal enterprise with resources, connections, and absolutely no moral boundaries. And they knew exactly where I lived. I grabbed my car keys and was out the door within minutes, my mind racing as fast as my heartbeat. If they knew where I lived and had been watching through my laptop camera, staying in my apartment was suicide. But as I reached the parking garage, I froze. My car was sitting exactly where I'd left it, but something was wrong. The driver's side window had a small crack that definitely hadn't been there yesterday, and there was a manila envelope tucked under the windshield wiper. I approached carefully, scanning the dimly lit garage for any sign of movement. The envelope had my name written in block letters across the front. Inside was a single photograph, me sitting at my kitchen table 3 hours ago, working on my laptop. The angle was perfect, professional quality. Someone had been in the building across the street with a telephoto lens. On the back of the photo, someone had written, "We're always watching." My hands shook as I started the car, checking the rearview mirror obsessively as I pulled out of the garage. I had nowhere to go. Jake's place would just put him in more danger. My parents had cut me off. And now I knew Linda wasn't working alone. This creative asset management operation had the resources to conduct professional surveillance. I drove aimlessly for 20 minutes before my phone rang. Unknown number. "Don't answer your door when you get home," a female voice said quickly. "They're already inside your building." "Who is this?" "My name is Sarah Kim. I'm an artist in Portland. I saw your Twitter thread, and I think we're dealing with the same people." Her voice was tight with fear. "They've been selling my work for 3 years. When I tried to fight back last month, they escalated just like they're doing to you." I pulled into a 24-hour diner parking lot, hands trembling as I put the car in park. "What do you mean, escalated?" "Break-ins. Anonymous tips to the IRS claiming I wasn't reporting income. Fake police reports claiming I was stalking Linda Morrison. They have a whole playbook for destroying people who fight back." My chest tightened. "How many of us are there?" "I found 7 other artists so far, all with similar stories. The pattern is always the same. They target struggling artists with small followings, steal work for months, then systematically destroy anyone who discovers the theft." I thought about Trevor losing his job offer, Madison being forced to help her mother, the fake legal threats and surveillance photos. It wasn't just criminal, it was psychological warfare designed to make victims too terrified to fight back. "Sarah, do you have evidence? Documentation of the harassment?" "Mountains of it. But here's the thing, I tried reporting it to the FBI 6 months ago. The agent I spoke with said art theft cases are low priority unless there's physical violence or the monetary damages exceed a certain threshold." My heart sank. "How much is the threshold?" "Per victim. $200,000. They told me to pursue it in civil court." I did quick math on Linda's shop earnings. Even with my art being the biggest source, I was probably looking at maybe $70,000 in total damages. Not enough to trigger federal intervention, according to Sarah. But, Sarah continued, "If we can prove this creative asset management network is operating across state lines, targeting multiple victims simultaneously, the combined damages might be enough. Plus the wire fraud, the hacking, the witness intimidation, that changes the federal interest level." My phone buzzed with a text as she spoke, "Time's running out. Be smart and take the deal." I screenshotted it and felt something shift inside me. They wanted me to be afraid, to feel isolated and powerless. But I wasn't alone anymore. "Sarah," I said, "how do you feel about turning this into a coordinated counterattack?" Sarah's voice steadied with determination. "I've been waiting 3 years for someone to say those words." "What do you have in mind?" I pulled up my Twitter notifications. The original thread was still gaining momentum, now at over 50,000 retweets. They're used to picking off artists one at a time, making us feel isolated. But what if we flip the script? Make this a coordinated exposure campaign they can't contain? I'm listening. "How many of the other artists you found are willing to go public?" "Most of them are too scared. But there's this guy in Austin, Marcus, who's been documenting everything obsessively. And a digital artist in Chicago named Riley who actually tried to hack back into their systems last month." My mind was racing now, the panic crystallizing into something sharper. "We need to move fast. They're escalating because my thread went viral, but that also means we have momentum they weren't expecting." A new text appeared on my phone, "Last chance. 1 hour to post the apology or your friend Jake gets a visit at work." I forwarded the screenshot to Sarah. "They're threatening people close to me now. Same playbook they used on me. But here's something they don't know, Riley managed to get into one of their coordination servers before they locked her out. She grabbed financial records that show the full scope of this operation." My pulse quickened. "How big are we talking?" "Conservative estimate. They've stolen from over 300 artists across 12 states. Total revenue is probably pushing $2 million. $2 million. The number hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't just Linda's side hustle, it was a sophisticated criminal enterprise that had been operating for years. "Sarah, that's federal racketeering territory. RICO charges." "Exactly. But we need everything documented and coordinated before they realize what we're doing. Once they figure out we're working together, they'll try to isolate us again." My phone started ringing. Jake's contact photo filled the screen. "Don't answer," Sarah said quickly. "If they're threatening him, they might be using his phone to track your location." The call went to voicemail, then immediately started ringing again. Jake never called twice unless it was an emergency. "I have to answer," I said, accepting the call. "Where the hell are you?" Jake's voice was tight with panic. "There are 2 guys in suits at my apartment building asking my neighbors about you. They're claiming to be federal agents, but something feels wrong." My blood ran cold. "Jake, get out of there. Now. Don't go home tonight." "What? What's going on?" "Your parents called me an hour ago crying, saying you've been making threats against the family." "My parents called you?" "Yeah, your mom was hysterical. Said Linda showed the messages where you threatened to destroy everyone if they didn't pay you money. She begged me to help you get psychiatric treatment." The room spun. They'd fabricated more evidence, this time making it look like I was having a mental breakdown and threatening family members. My own parents now thought I was dangerous. "Jake, listen carefully. None of that is true. But I need you to get somewhere safe and not tell anyone where you are. This is insane. You're scaring me. I'm scared too. But please, just trust me. I'll explain everything once. The line went dead. Not hung up, dead, like the call had been cut from the outside. Sarah's voice came through my other ear. We need to move tonight. They're not just threatening anymore, they're actively destroying your support network. In 12 hours, they'll have everyone you care about convinced you're a dangerous criminal. I stared at my phone, watching Jake's contact try to call back, the calls failing immediately. They'd cut his phone service. Sarah, I said quietly, how many of us do you think we can coordinate by morning? All of them. I've been preparing for this moment for 3 years. Then let's burn their whole empire to the ground. The coordination call with Sarah, Marcus, and Riley started at 2 a.m. in a Discord server Riley had set up with military-grade encryption. Seeing their faces on video, tired, scared, but determined, made everything feel suddenly real. Okay, here's what we've got, Riley said, sharing her screen. The financial documents she pulled from Creative Asset Management server were staggering. They're not just stealing art. They've got fake social media profiles generating engagement, bot networks manipulating search algorithms, even shell companies filing fraudulent copyright claims against the original artists. Marcus leaned into his camera, his usually cheerful demeanor replaced by cold fury. They did the same psychological warfare campaign to me last year. Fake police reports, called my landlord claiming I was running an illegal business from my apartment, even sent my ex-girlfriend fabricated screenshots making it look like I was stalking her. The pattern is always escalation, Sarah added, pulling up a spreadsheet that made my stomach drop. First they steal quietly. If you notice and stay quiet, they continue profiting. But if you fight back publicly, they deploy what they call reputation management. Riley clicked through to another folder. I found their actual playbook. It's called Subject Neutralization Protocol. They have templates for fake legal documents, scripts for impersonating law enforcement, even guidelines for how to fabricate evidence of mental illness. My phone buzzed with another text from Jake's number, please call me back. People are saying crazy things about you and I'm worried. I showed the screen to the group. That's not Jake texting. His phone's been cut off for 2 hours. They've cloned his number, Riley said grimly. Same thing they did to Marcus. They'll use it to send increasingly erratic messages to your mutual friends, making it look like you're harassing him. Sarah pulled up her own phone. We have maybe 6 hours before they realize we're coordinating. Once they figure out we're working together instead of staying isolated, they'll go nuclear on all of us simultaneously. What does nuclear look like? I asked, though I was afraid of the answer. Marcus's jaw tightened. Swatting. They called in a fake hostage situation at my apartment last year. 6 officers with assault rifles showed up at 3 a.m. because someone reported I was holding my girlfriend at gunpoint. My hands went cold. These people weren't just thieves, they were willing to put lives at risk to silence victims. But here's the thing, Riley continued, they're used to picking us off one at a time. They've never dealt with a coordinated response. Their whole system depends on isolation and fear. Sarah leaned forward. I've been building a database of evidence for 3 years. Financial records, stolen artwork comparisons, documentation of harassment campaigns against 17 different artists. Combined with what you've got from Linda's operation and Riley's server breach, we have enough to bury them. The question is how we deploy it, Riley said. They're monitoring all our social media accounts, probably our emails too. The moment we start posting evidence, they'll begin damage control. An idea started forming in my mind, dangerous but potentially perfect. What if we don't give them time to react? What if we hit them everywhere at once? I pulled up my laptop, opening multiple tabs. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, Facebook, simultaneous posting across every platform. Not just my story, but all of ours. With full documentation, financial records, the surveillance photos, everything. That's incredibly risky, Marcus warned. Once we go public with everything, there's no taking it back. They'll throw every dirty trick they have at all of us. My phone started ringing. My mom's contact photo appeared on screen, and for a moment I considered answering. But then I remembered the fake text messages Linda had shown them, the lies they've been fed about my mental state. They've already thrown everything at me, I said, declining the call. My parents think I'm having a psychotic break. My best friend's been disappeared. They've threatened to swat me and destroyed a man's career for helping me. Riley nodded slowly. Scorched earth approach. I like it. We coordinate the release for 6 a.m. Eastern, Sarah said, her voice steady with resolve. Peak social media engagement, before their business hours start. By the time they realize what's happening, it'll be too late to contain. As we started dividing up platforms and preparing evidence packages, my laptop screen flickered again. For just a moment, a message appeared in large text, we can see you planning. Then it vanished. Riley's expression turned deadly serious. They're still in our systems. They know exactly what we're planning. We had less than 4 hours to execute a plan they were actively monitoring. And I was starting to realize that Linda Morrison was the least of my problems. The message, we can see you planning, hung in my mind as I made the most important decision of my life. I looked at Sarah, Marcus, and Riley on the video call, their faces tense with the same realization I just had. Change of plans, I said quietly. We go live right now. What? Riley's eyes widened. It's 2:47 a.m. Engagement will be terrible. Engagement doesn't matter if we're all in jail or worse by morning. They know our timeline. So we throw out the timeline. My fingers were already flying across the keyboard, uploading files to Twitter. Sarah, start posting everything to Instagram. Marcus, hit Reddit with the financial documents. Riley, can you get that Creative Asset Management server data onto TikTok? This is insane, Marcus muttered, but I could hear him typing. No coordinated timing, no media outreach. No time for them to stop us, I interrupted, hitting publish on the first thread. The tweet went live at 2:52 a.m. Thread, how a criminal network stole $2 million from 300 plus artists and tried to destroy our lives when we fought back. This is bigger than my aunt. Much bigger. 173rd. Within seconds, my phone exploded with notifications. The art community never slept, and word spread like wildfire through group chats and Discord servers. 3 minutes later, Sarah's Instagram post went live with a carousel of financial documents that showed the full scope of the theft ring. At 3:07 a.m., Marcus posted the smoking gun to r/legal advice, Creative Asset Management LLC financial records showing systematic art theft across 12 states. Riley's TikTok video explaining the technical details of their operation launched at 3:15 a.m. and immediately started climbing the algorithm. By 3:30 a.m., hashtag Creative Asset Scam was trending on Twitter. My laptop screen flickered frantically now. They were trying everything to regain control of my system, but it was too late. The evidence was spreading faster than they could contain it. At 4 a.m., my phone rang. Linda's number. I answered on speaker so the group could hear. "You stupid, stupid girl," she hissed. "Do you have any idea what you've just done?" "I've told the truth," I said calmly, watching the retweet count climb past 15,000. "The truth? You've destroyed everything. My shop, Madison's college fund, the entire family business." "Linda, it was never your business to begin with." The line went quiet, then a different voice came on. David Chen's professional tone had been replaced by barely controlled rage. "Ms. Morrison, you've made a very costly mistake. Our legal team." "Your legal team?" I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in days. "David, the FBI cybercrime unit called me 20 minutes ago. Turns out when evidence of a multi-million-dollar interstate fraud scheme starts trending on social media, it gets their attention real fast." The silence stretched long enough that I thought they'd hung up. "You're bluffing," Linda finally whispered. I pulled up my email, reading from the message that had arrived at 3:43 a.m. "Agent Rebecca Torres here. We've been monitoring the situation developing online. Please contact me immediately to coordinate evidence transfer." "The agent wants to meet this morning," I continued. Apparently, organized art theft with harassment and witness intimidation checks all the boxes for federal RICO charges. The line went dead. At 6 a.m., as Sarah and I sat in a 24-hour diner sharing coffee and watching our evidence posts spread across every major platform, my phone buzzed with a text from Jake's real number. "Just saw the news. Holy shit. Are you okay? Police just arrested 2 guys who were impersonating federal agents at my building." I smiled, tears streaming down my face as I typed back, "I'm okay. I think I'm finally okay." The art theft ring that had terrorized dozens of creators was about to face federal prosecution. And I'd learned something important. Sometimes the best way to defeat people who prey on isolation is to refuse to stay isolated. 3 months later, Linda pled guilty to 17 federal charges. I used my settlement money to start a legal defense fund for artists fighting IP theft. My parents and I are still working on rebuilding our relationship, but they finally understand what really happened. And my art. It's selling better than ever, under my own name, with my own prices. Turns out people love supporting artists who fight back.